Making moves, we don't play. Stacking vision every day. Mikki J, she lead the way. From the grind to the getaway.
Welcome to Making Moves with Mikki J, where bold moves, big dreams, and real results collide. I'm Mikki J, your agent, coach, and clarity partner, here to help you live the life, the legacy, and have the mindset you were born to have. If you're ready to move like you somebody, then let's dive in. Today, we're going to be talking about setting up for comebacks. If not comebacks, really taking a setback and making it a setup. That's what we're going to discuss today. Pretty much growth and coming through on the other side of whatever you've been going through, a new and improved version of you. And that's what happens every time we go through something. In my business, LotusFire, it's really about powerful transformations. But in that, you've got the lotus. And a lotus flower grows in mud. And it blooms beautifully. And is one of the most beautiful flowers. But it grows through very murky, muddy water. So in that transformation out of chaos into the beautiful beings that we're meant to be, that is what the lotus represents. Fire is a representation of the powerful refinement that happens when we go through situations. Every situation that we go through that brings about a powerful change in us is considered our fire. So Lotus Fire is our powerful transformations through, not despite, but through those tough times that we all encounter. One of the things that I can recall in my life when there was a very tough time, a setback, if you will, was when I was fired, right? So it's the only time this ever happened to me. And I felt like, what am I gonna do? I was newly separated, so I was on my own, and I changed jobs, and I thought this one, it was paying more, it would be better for me, but I was completely over my head. It was a very small company. It was my first time getting into tea. So it was a big deal for me. And I wasn't rising to the occasion as quickly as the owner, who I reported to, the actual owner of the company, as they would have liked. So in that process, they just came to the conclusion that my time there had expired, and that was that. Well, in that process, I had to find new work. And it took a little time. And during that time that I was looking for work, I was sending out a slew of resumes. Nothing was turning up. I wasn't getting any interviews. I was really, really distraught. And I didn't know how I was going to make my rent. And I ended up having to take a cash advance out on a credit card to pay my rent. And that was the lowest point for me, because I didn't know how I would sustain. Well, in that tough time, that fire that I was going through, I decided I'm going to do what I used to do back when I was much younger, when I wanted to go find a job. I'm going to put on good clothes and I'm going to go walk door to door and pass out some resumes. Back then it was fill out applications, but same concept. I went to some very nice office buildings, put on my $200 suit and some good shoes and some very nice pantyhose, and I got out there. And I had a binder, a portfolio full of resumes on good resume paper. And I was going into office buildings, but they have the security down there. So trying to make sure who's coming in and out of the building. Maybe you need to sign in. I just acted like I knew where I was going. I'd just beeline to the elevator. And then I would pick a floor and get off the elevator and then check their marquee outside of the elevator to see who was on that floor and if it was anybody I could go give a resume to. So first building, not so much of a success. Well, I did a little more driving around, found another office building, and I went in there and I started doing the same thing. Went straight to the elevator, went up looking for where I can go. Went to some attorneys' offices, different places, and I was able to find a K-Force, which is a staffing agency here in Atlanta. And I went in there and I remember I was trying to talk to this guy named Adam, and he was just blowing me off. And he's like, go online, go online, go online. Everything I said, it was go online. But I just kept pushing because I had done the online thing. I put resumes online. I filled out all of their profile information. I wasn't getting a call and I needed some answers. So I kept talking. And in talking, the general manager overheard me, and he was interviewing for one of his top clients. And he asked me, do you know Visio? He told him, hold on a minute. Asked me if I knew Visio, and I said that, which is a diagramming application. I said yes. He brought me in the office. He asked me some other questions, kind of quizzed me on some things, then sent me off for an interview with that top client. I got that job that day. That job that day. But it wasn't because it was some miracle thing. It was because I put forth the effort. And yes, that was a setback to be let go with no real savings and no real options, and just I'd been trying to find another job before they let me go. I knew the writing was on the wall. I just couldn't secure another position. And I know that I needed that situation. I needed that fire so that I would learn to trust my creator versus trying to trust myself and my employability. So that was a big setback for me to set me up for what was to come. My future was stronger and brighter because I knew that at the end of the day, if I can sell myself, if I can get in front of the right people, and sometimes it's getting in front of the right people. It's not you. It's nothing wrong with you. It's nothing wrong with your skill set. It's getting in front of the right people. And that was what I had to learn. You can't just assume that, oh, well, I'm putting out these resumes into the internet and World Wide Web. It's an abyss. And when are you going to hear something? And I had to take matters into my own hands and pray about it. I did. I am a God-fearing woman, and I prayed about it, and I did the thing that came to me to do. And I felt like that was what I needed at that time. It's not what I wanted by any means, but it's absolutely what I needed. We get exactly what we need, and our setbacks can become our launch pad for our future. So it's best to make the best decisions possible when we're faced with a setback, when we're faced with something that seems catastrophic. We can't make knee-jerk reactions. We have to respond in a way that makes sense for the situation. You can't stick your head in the sand because nobody's calling you back on these resumes. Somehow, some way, you need to network, go to some networking events. You need to do something different. And that's what I needed to do. I could have gotten a job off of a networking event. That's not what I chose to do. I chose to put on my good suit and get out there into some office buildings, talk to some people, and get myself a job. And I got it that day. That is my story for a setback that sets you up to move forward and launch your career. That launched my IT career. That was my first real IT job, that outside of that IT job that I had gotten that was over my head. And that was one thing that I had learned from that situation as well. Sometimes it's more than one thing you'll get out of it. I had an unrealistic expectation that I could just pretty much do anything. And I needed to be humbled at that time because I didn't see where anything could possibly go wrong. I had pie in the sky expectations of income and responsibilities when it came to what it meant to be in that industry. And sometimes we don't know what it is we're getting ourselves into, and we assume what it is. And sometimes that situation has to come, that fire comes to hip us to what's really going on. What do you really accomplish? What did you really accomplish? And what is the B clause to that? Because for everything that you accomplish, for every good thing that you experience, there's always a handful of things that will just go awry. And there's nothing you can do about that. That's just how it works. But what do you do when those things go awry? What decisions do you make? What actions do you take? Who are you in those moments? And that's what I learned. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about what it takes in that industry. I learned a lot about what it takes for me to get out of a rut. I could have gotten completely depressed and let everything spiral. And I found the resilience in myself to push forward. That those situations that they call a make or break. They can make you or they can break you. They make you someone new, or they break down the person that you already are to the lowest common denominator. And then you have to build back from there. But life often teaches us what we need to know, when we need to know it. And there are a few mindset shifts that need to happen when you're in your tough seasons. One is your mind needs to go straight to gratitude, gratefulness, being grateful for what you have, being grateful for what you've been told no to. That's a big one. You want this, you want that new job, you want that promotion, you want all these things. You want that new car, whatever it is you want, that life, God, whomever you serve is telling you no, right? Nope, can't have that. Nope, it just ain't manifesting. No matter what you do, it's just not there for you. And when that happens, we need to be grateful, because rejection is protection. You need to be grateful when you get told no, because sometimes it's a delay for a reason. You may have got that lotto winning and blew through all that money because you didn't know what you was doing. You didn't have no budget. You don't have a spending plan. Your credit in the 500s. You win in the lottery and your credit in the 500s. You probably don't know what to do with that money. So all those things come into play when you are given something, and then the no, when you are given a no to something, that is rejection, which is protection, and that should come with gratitude, just like if you got the thing. So gratitude is huge. That's number one. Number two, you need to have a vision in the midst of the storm. If you don't have an overarching vision for your life, when you hit these storms, they can take you completely out. Why? Because you don't know where you're going in the first place. And then you walking along aimlessly and you get sucked in the face by life. Well, you just want to get down. You stay down on the ground because I don't know where I'm going, but every time I turn around, I'm getting socked in the face. It's different when you know exactly where you're going. And you know where you're trying to get to, and who you're trying to be when you get there, and what you're trying to have when you get there. All of that. You understand who you want to be, what you want to have, and what you want to do. You get it. So after that, you just really have to hold tight to that vision. You have to hold tight to that vision, so that when tough times come, you can stay motivated. It gives you the resilience to when life socks you in the face and knocks you on the ground, you can get back up. Why are you getting back up? Because you have a strong enough why. You have a vision and a strong enough why to why you're doing what you're doing. So that will keep you going and that will keep you motivated. Lastly, you have to change your mindset about your time and how you use it. Nothing is wasted. No time is wasted. You learn something every time you do something. And just because you don't get the outcome you're looking for doesn't mean that it's not worth something. You didn't waste your time in that relationship. You were rounding out your preferences. You didn't waste your time at that job. You were rounding out your experience and learning what to pick, how to pick what you need to do, what vehicle you need to drive in this life to get to the vision. Okay? So just change that thought process. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is wasted. If you just can remember that and continue to say that to yourself, that would be huge. It would change the game for you, because choosing to feel as though you've wasted your time and wasted your resources and your assets on accomplishing or not accomplishing something can take you completely off your square. So focus on what you get out of every situation, as opposed to focusing on the lack of the outcome that you was hoping for. What did you get instead of why didn't I get what I wanted? So let's not be brats about it. Let's be adults about it. Let's be mature about it and actually accept the fact that the plan that you have in your head really is really small compared to the plan of the creator of the overarching plan for everybody. So sometimes what you want just ain't gonna happen, period. So not right then, clearly. So don't be a brat. Don't whine about it. Suck it up and move forward. Lastly, I want to commission you to start journaling. If you have a LotusFire journal, those moments when you grew through the murky, dirty water and were refined by that fire situation, what is that? What were those moments? And if you don't have a journal, you won't have anything to reflect back on, which helps you to stay motivated towards your vision and your goal that you're going for. So start your LotusFire journal and start writing in there weekly, at least. Start weekly and write down any muddy moments that you may have had. Muddy moments that came up throughout the week, journal them down. Then write what that muddy moment revealed. What did you learn from that? What lesson? How did that strengthen your mindset or help you to bloom in some way? Then one prompt that I'd like you to use for that week is this week, or if you want to do a daily situation where you're writing daily, which would be awesome. Today I felt stuck in blank, right? But now I see it might be growing me here in blank. So let's say it together. Today I felt stuck in blank. So the area you felt stuck in. But now I see it might be growing me in blank, which is, what area are you growing in? Where are you feeling like you might experience some growth because of this situation? That prompt will help you. And when you look back, you'll see where you've grown and where you have developed additional mindset shifts and skill sets that will help you to navigate throughout your life. So today we've talked about setting up your life in a way that sets you up for a comeback versus a setback. Sometimes we feel like life is lifing, and ultimately, we really want to achieve what we set out to achieve. We want to have what we set out to have. We want to do all the things that we set out to do. And when we're faced with opposition, when we're given a no, sometimes it's hard to handle that. But it's best to find a way to be grateful for those moments, find a way to grow from those moments, and become the best version of ourselves each and every day. Each and every day, we should be striving to compete with the yesterday version of ourselves so that we are always seeking to be better than we were yesterday. And if you start there and you give gratitude and you journal and keep track of those times when you grew out of those tough situations, you too will have a comeback or a setup after your setback. It'll set you up for the next stage of your life. It'll set you up to do wonderful things that you want to do intrinsically that are in alignment with your values. So I say all that to say we are awesome individuals that have a lot to offer the world. We just need to understand that opposition or failures or bad situations, they're going to happen, but they're a part of the process. You're not going to get out of life without them. So, what are you going to do despite them? That is where I'm going to leave it today. And I want you to ultimately be awesome out here in these streets and move like you're somebody. So this is Michelle, Mikki J signing off. Talk to you soon.